Part 1. The Day Everything Changed, April 2025. On a calm spring morning in April 2025, something terrible happened in the peaceful valley of Pahalgam, Kashmir. Families were walking to the market. Children were going to school. But within minutes, everything changed. A terrorist attack destroyed that peace, and it would shake two nations to the core. What really happened? Why did it lead to the biggest India-Pakistan conflict in years? Let's understand the full story in simple English. Welcome to Tales Sync. At Tales Sync, we turn complex stories into simple, emotional, and powerful lessons. Today, we begin a 5-part journey to understand the 2025 India-Pakistan conflict. Not with hate, but with facts. Not with fear, but with clarity. Let's begin. Chapter 1: A Normal Morning Until April 22nd, 2025. Pahalgam, a beautiful tourist town in Kashmir, woke up like any other day. The sky was blue. Shops were opening. A group of Hindu pilgrims and tourists had just arrived to visit ancient temples. Children were laughing. Parents were taking photos. Then, around 10:15 a.m., the sound of a blast broke the calm. A car packed with explosives rammed into a parked bus filled with tourists. The explosion shook nearby buildings. Smoke filled the air. People screamed and ran. Panic spread everywhere. Within minutes, more gunfire began. 3 armed men opened fire near the bus, shooting at police and civilians. The attack lasted nearly 25 minutes. By the end of the hour, 37 people were dead. Dozens were injured. Among them were women, children, and elderly pilgrims. One of the victims was a young girl from Mumbai who was traveling with her grandparents. India was heartbroken. Chapter 2: The First Wave of Emotion. As news channels started reporting, shock turned into anger. How could this happen again? People asked. What is Pakistan doing to stop terrorism from its land? Shouted TV anchors. Social media was flooded with videos, photos, and stories. People across India expressed their sadness and rage. In Delhi, students held silent candle marches. In Mumbai, crowds gathered to honor the dead. In Kashmir, many locals also came forward to help the injured and condemn the violence. The hashtag Justice for Pahalgam started trending. It was not just about an attack. It became a symbol of pain, unity, and anger. Chapter 3: India Points a Finger. The Indian government quickly responded. The Prime Minister gave a strong speech that evening. This was not just an attack on innocent lives. It was an attack on peace. We will not forget. We will not forgive. India's intelligence agencies began investigating. Within 48 hours, they announced that the attackers were trained and armed by a group based in Pakistan, a group already banned by the United Nations. The group was believed to have links with Pakistan's intelligence agency, ISI. India's foreign minister said, "We have proof. We are sharing it with the world." Pakistani officials denied involvement and called the accusations baseless. But the Indian public didn't care about diplomacy. They wanted action, not just words. Chapter 4: The Fire Spreads. Across India, protests broke out. People gathered outside Pakistani embassies. On news channels, military experts discussed options for a strong response. The memories of the 2019 Pulwama attack and the Balakot airstrike came back. People started saying, if we did it in 2019, we can do it again in 2025. The Indian Army was put on high alert. Intelligence agencies raised security levels in major cities. The Air Force increased surveillance near the border. Even schools in Jammu and Kashmir were temporarily closed due to safety concerns. At the same time, many people also called for peace. "I lost my brother in this attack," said a young woman from Pune. "But I don't want war. War will only kill more brothers." These voices were fewer, but growing louder. Chapter 5. Inside Pakistan. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, people were watching the same events, but with different feelings. Some believed their government and said they had no role in the attack. Others were afraid that India might retaliate again, like in 2019. Pakistan's Prime Minister appeared on national television and said, "We condemn this attack. But blaming Pakistan is wrong. We must talk, not fight." Still, Pakistan also increased its own military alert. Jets were seen flying near the line of control, LOC. Tanks were moved closer to borders. Fear was growing on both sides. Chapter 6. Fear, Confusion, and Suspense. By the last week of April, the situation had become extremely tense. People in border villages started moving to safer areas. Trains were cancelled in Jammu. Indian Defense Forces began organizing drills and safety operations in multiple states. The public was divided. Some said, "Strike them now." Others said, "Find peace before it's too late." International leaders, including the US, Russia, and UAE, urged both sides to stay calm. But both countries were standing firm. And in the middle of it all, ordinary people, innocent citizens, were living in fear. Part 2. The Retaliation, India's Response to Terror. Chapter 1. The Prime Minister's Closed-Door Meeting. April 23rd, just one day after the attack. At 9 a.m., a high-level meeting took place in South Block, New Delhi, attended by the Prime Minister, National Security Advisor, defense chiefs, and key intelligence heads. The atmosphere was tense but focused. The decision was clear. India would prepare for retaliation, but in a smart, strategic, and prepared way. This was not about sudden revenge. It was about controlled pressure. That very day, Operation Abhyas was quietly launched. Chapter 2. What was Operation Abhyas? Operation Abhyas, meaning practice or rehearsal, was not a direct military strike. It was a large-scale war readiness drill. Here's what it involved. Blackout drills in sensitive cities like Pathankot, Amritsar, Jammu, and even parts of Rajasthan. Troop movement under strict media silence. Secret positioning of Air Force squadrons in forward bases. High alert declared for India's Strategic Forces Command. Satellite surveillance of key areas along the Pakistan border. The aim? To send a clear message to Pakistan and the world. India is ready. It was both a warning and a test. Chapter 3. The Emotional Weight of Preparation. As Indian forces moved closer to the borders, citizens across the country watched in silence and anxiety. Families living near the LOC began packing emergency bags. In schools, students were told to carry identity cards and avoid crowded places. For soldiers, it was personal. One officer from Punjab said, "My younger brother was on that bus in Pahalgam. I saw his photo in the newspaper. This uniform now weighs heavier on my shoulders." The Indian media called this period the Shadow War. No bullets were fired yet, but every heart was pounding. Chapter 4. Exercise Akraman, Testing. India's Strike Force. On April 27th, India launched another powerful signal, Exercise Akraman, meaning invasion or assault. This wasn't a secret drill. It was deliberately public. Massive tank movements, were shown in Rajasthan. Fighter jets screamed across skies in Punjab and Haryana. Artillery drills were filmed and shared with the press. The Defense Ministry released a strong statement. India has no intention to start a war, but we are fully prepared to end one. The message to Pakistan and to the world was loud and clear. India is not bluffing. Chapter 5. The world reacts. Within 48 hours, multiple countries stepped in. The United States warned both India and Pakistan to avoid escalation. The United Nations called for restraint and offered to mediate. The United Arab Emirates quietly sent peace envoys to both countries. Russia supported India's right to self-defense, but advised caution. Global stock markets, especially in South Asia, began to shake. Flight routes over northern India were changed. Oil prices jumped. Tourists canceled trips. What had started as a terrorist attack was now a global concern. Chapter 6. The risk of retaliation turns real. Pakistan didn't stay silent. Their army began its own exercises near the border. Missiles were repositioned. Troops were moved to sensitive points along the line of control. They released their own official statement. Pakistan is a peaceful nation, but we are prepared to defend ourselves against any aggression. The situation felt familiar, like 2019, but this time it was bigger, more organized, more dangerous. Both nations now stood on the edge of something terrible. One wrong step, one misunderstanding, and it could become war. Chapter 7. Voices from the ground. In border towns like Samba, Rajouri, and Jaisalmer, ordinary people were the first to suffer. A shopkeeper in Rajouri said, "One day I'm selling vegetables. The next, I'm digging a trench outside my home." A mother in Amritsar tearfully said, "My son is in the army. I don't sleep at night. I just stare at my phone." Even in Pakistani towns like Sialkot and Multan, fear was spreading. Many people stocked food. Some moved their children to relatives in safer areas. The conflict was not only between two governments, it was between fear and hope. Chapter 8. Calm before the storm? By May 1st, the situation had reached a strange silence. No attacks. No bombs, but also no peace. Diplomatic talks were stuck. Media in both countries were on fire. Rumors flew faster than facts. Indian leaders were preparing for one final decision. Would they strike inside Pakistan, like Balakot in 2019? Would they use diplomacy? Or would a third, unexpected path open? The world watched and waited. Part 3. The Media War, Misinformation, Fear, and Propaganda. Chapter 1. The First Viral Lie. On May 2nd, a photo started trending on Twitter, now called X. It showed a burning Indian tank and the words, "Pakistan destroys Indian unit near LOC." Thousands believed it. News anchors discussed it. Angry messages were shared. But here's the truth. That photo was from 2018, taken during a military drill in Rajasthan. Still, the damage was done. This was not a war of bullets. This was a war of beliefs. And it was only the beginning. Chapter 2. Emotional Manipulation. In both India and Pakistan, social media became a battlefield. Here's how. In India, fake videos of Pakistani leaders celebrating the attack spread rapidly. Voice-cloned audios of army generals were posted on WhatsApp. AI-generated images of crying Indian families were shared to spark anger. In Pakistan, deepfake clips showed Indian officials planning attacks. A photo of an Indian soldier crying before war was edited to seem real. Stories of Indian war crimes began to trend, with no proof. The goal? To turn public emotions into weapons. Chapter 3. So the question is, why do people believe fake news? Let's stop and think. Why does misinformation spread so easily? Here are 3 reasons. Emotion beats logic. When we are scared or angry, we believe things quickly, without checking. Echo chambers. Social media shows us what we already believe. So lies feel true. Speed versus truth. Lies spread faster than truth. A fact takes time. A lie takes seconds. During conflict, truth becomes the first victim. Chapter 4. Who is behind it? This wasn't just random. Cyber experts later confirmed that many fake posts came from organized groups. Fake Twitter accounts using Indian or Pakistani names, but run from unknown locations. WhatsApp groups with 100,000 plus members used to spread fear. Even foreign troll farms trying to make India and Pakistan hate each other more. These actors wanted chaos.
Why?
Because chaos weakens a country. It distracts leaders. It divides people. And a divided country is easy to attack from inside or outside. Chapter 5. How governments responded. As fake news grew, governments of both countries started acting. In India, the Ministry of Home Affairs set up a 24/7 fact-checking task force. News channels were warned not to air unverified content. Social media platforms were asked to remove 300+ fake posts. In Pakistan, state TV was used to counter lies. Some websites were blocked. Officials posted daily truth reports on Twitter. But despite all this, the damage was deep. In some places, people attacked their own neighbors, thinking they were spies. In schools, children were scared to talk about the war. In homes, families stopped watching the news because they didn't know what to trust. Chapter 6. The Pain of Confusion. Let's hear some real voices from this media war. An 18-year-old in Lahore. I believed India had already started bombing us. I packed a bag to run. A father in Jammu. My daughter saw a fake video online and asked, "Papa, will we die today?" I had no answer. A teacher in Delhi. Half my students came to class with wrong information. They were angry, scared, and confused. This wasn't a battle of armies. It was a battle for clarity. And sadly, lies were winning. Chapter 7. When media becomes a weapon. We often say media is power. In 2025, that became 100% true. A single fake tweet could create panic in a city. A fake image could cause protests or riots. A deepfake audio could change public opinion in hours. This is called information warfare. It's not about guns. It's about controlling what people believe. And it is just as dangerous. Chapter 8. Heroes who fought lies. Not all hope was lost. In both countries, some brave people tried to stop the spread of hate. Fact-checkers like Alt News, India, and Sock Fact Check, Pakistan, worked 24/7. YouTubers and teachers explained the truth in simple words. Young students created posters and reels saying, "Check before you share." One Indian YouTuber even said in his video, "The real enemy is not Pakistan. It is ignorance and misinformation. Let's defeat that first." These small actions helped many people stay calm. Chapter 9. Lessons from the Media War. From this part of the conflict, we learn 4 key lessons. 1. Always verify before you believe. Check facts. Don't trust unknown sources. 2. Emotions can be used against you. If something makes you very angry, pause. Ask why. 3. Misinformation can hurt real people. Don't share posts unless you're 100% sure. 4. Truth is a responsibility. In times of conflict, sharing truth is courage. Part 4. Back-channel talks. Can peace be saved? Chapter 1. Silence at the top. While newspapers shouted, "War is coming," the prime ministers of India and Pakistan said almost nothing. Not on X. Not on TV. Not even during public speeches. This was strange.
But now we know why.
They were talking. Secretly. Chapter 2. The First Call. On May 3, 2025, at 2:15 a.m. IST, a secure satellite call connected two old enemies. India's National Security Advisor, Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff. The call lasted just 6 minutes. What was said? We don't know everything, but leaks later revealed 3 key lines from the Indian side. We know the terrorists were not your army. This must not turn into war. Let's use the same old channel. You know the one. What was the old channel? A secret path used many times before to talk when the world thinks no one is talking. Chapter 3. The third party enters. Enter a new character. U.S. The United States. Behind the scenes, the U.S. quietly contacted both India and Pakistan. Not to take sides, but to prevent war. Here's what they did. Sent diplomats to Doha, Qatar. Asked both countries to send non-government representatives. Offered to keep the talks off the record. By May 5th, Indian and Pakistani representatives sat in the same hotel. No flags. No press. No cameras. Just a private room, tea, and tense silence. Chapter 4. Rules of Back-Channel Diplomacy. Back-channel talks are different from official ones.
Here's how.
Official talks, in public view. Back-channel talks, in secret. Official talks, recorded or televised. Back-channel talks, off the record. Official talks, includes official leaders. Back-channel talks, uses trusted advisors. Official talks, has pressure from media. Back-channel talks, protected from public noise. The benefit? Back-channel talks allow honest conversation without the fear of public reaction. And in this conflict, honesty was rare. Chapter 5. What was discussed? Sources close to the talks revealed 5 main topics. 1. The April attack. India showed radar data, satellite photos, and radio intercepts. Pakistan agreed the attackers may have come from a rogue group in Balochistan. 2. Red lines. Both sides shared their limits, actions that would force a response. Example: if you cross line X, we must respond. 3. Media control. Talks about stopping fake news, calming anchors, and removing deepfakes. For prisoners and civilians. Rules were discussed for handling captured soldiers or civilians at the border. 5. Exit strategy. How both countries could step back from war without looking weak. These talks were not easy, but they were happening, and that was hope. Chapter 6. The Candle of Peace. One small moment during the Doha meeting became a symbol. During a break, an Indian diplomat lit a candle in the hotel's prayer room. A Pakistani advisor, seeing this, walked in and lit one too. Later that night, they talked, not as enemies, but as fathers. "I don't want my son to grow up afraid of your country," one said. That's the silent power of back-channel talks. They allow human connection in the middle of politics. Chapter 7. Challenges from Within. Back home, both governments faced pressure. In India, some news anchors shouted, "Where is revenge?" Opposition parties accused the PM of being too soft. Angry citizens demanded proof of winning. In Pakistan, religious groups called the talks a betrayal. Army hardliners said, "This is weakness." Protesters asked, "Why negotiate after we were blamed?" These reactions made back-channel talks harder. Every word spoken in Doha could lead to political danger at home. Still, the secret meetings continued, night after night. Chapter 8. The Flight That Almost Failed. On May 6th, Pakistan's negotiators were supposed to fly back for more orders. But a viral fake tweet claimed, "Indian jets to attack Karachi tonight." Panic hit the airport. The flight was delayed. Talks were paused. Later, it was confirmed. The tweet was AI generated. Even the author was fake. This one post almost ended the peace effort. Once again, information proved to be both the enemy and the savior. Chapter 9. Trust, Built Slowly. On May 7th, something changed. India quietly reduced troop activity at one border post. Pakistan responded by halting a training exercise near Lahore. These were signals, not of friendship, but of respect. Small, slow signs of de-escalation. That same night, in Doha, both sides agreed to a code of silence, a secret protocol to avoid provocative speeches, military shows of force, leaks to the press. The world didn't know it yet, but war had been delayed, maybe even avoided. Part 5. The Turning Point. What comes next? Chapter 1. A Morning Without Bombs. On the morning of May 8th, 2025, the sun rose over the border without gunfire. No jets in the sky. No missiles on the radar. No sudden explosions. Just birds, farmers, and soldiers watching the horizon in silence. News anchors who were shouting days before now looked confused. There was no breaking news, and that, for once, was a good thing. But silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it means something big is about to happen. Chapter 2. The Declaration of Two Lines. Later that day, both governments released short statements, almost identical. India's statement: "We continue to monitor the situation. We believe in peace with strength. No action will be taken unless provoked again." Pakistan's statement: "We deny all involvement in the April attack. However, we remain committed to peace and regional stability." These statements didn't solve the problem, but they drew two invisible lines in the sand. India said, "We won't attack, but don't test us." Pakistan said, "We didn't do it, but let's avoid war." A quiet agreement had been made, unofficial, unwritten, but real. Chapter 3. Justice versus Peace. This created a new challenge, especially in India. If we don't strike back, is that justice? If we do strike, do we risk war for revenge? The families of the soldiers lost in the April attack demanded answers. Social media called for justice. But military experts warned that airstrikes now would undo the peace built in Doha. In Delhi's war room, the Prime Minister reportedly asked, "Can peace be justice if it prevents 100 more deaths?" It was not an easy answer, but the decision was made. India would wait and investigate. Chapter 4: Intelligence Shift. Instead of launching missiles, India launched something else: a digital operation. Behind the scenes, India's intelligence agency RA began a cyber mission. The goal? Track the real source of the April attackers. Follow the money, the weapons, and the messages. Avoid blaming a government without proof. What they found shocked even insiders. The attackers had ties to a radical Baloch separatist group, a funding network in Dubai, a rogue arms supplier based in Ukraine. None of these were directly linked to Pakistan's army. This discovery was quietly shared with international allies and even with Pakistan through back channels. The truth changed everything. Chapter 5: Global Reaction. As tensions cool slightly, global attention remains sharp. International media and leaders are watching, not cheering, just watching. The US, France, and the UN have urged both nations to show restraint. Some diplomats have quietly praised both governments for not escalating further. China has remained mostly silent, but is monitoring events carefully. The world isn't sure if this is the end of the conflict, or just a pause before the next chapter. But the fact that major powers are not pushing for war is a positive sign. For now, India and Pakistan are under a global spotlight, and sometimes the fear of the world watching can prevent dangerous actions. Chapter 6: The Stand-Down Order. Recent updates suggest both militaries have started to reduce high-alert activities. Troop movements at the border have slowed down. Fighter jets that were flying patrols more aggressively are now pulling back. Missile systems remain on standby, but they are no longer being repositioned. There has been no official agreement, but both sides appear to be avoiding the next step. Military insiders describe this as a controlled cool-down, a way to step back without showing weakness. This isn't peace. It isn't a solution, but it's a sign that someone somewhere gave the order: hold.
Wait.
Don't push further. That kind of silence can save lives. Reflection, final thoughts. The India-Pakistan conflict of 2025 wasn't just about bombs and borders. It was about choices. To talk instead of shout. To wait instead of rush.
To think instead of react.
In a world full of noise, these two nations found a way, however fragile, to listen. This may not be the end of conflict, but it's the start of a new way forward. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. And that brings us to the end of this 5-part journey into one of the most emotional, dangerous, and important conflicts of 2025, the India-Pakistan conflict. We didn't just talk about war. We explored human pain, political silence, and the value of peace in a world full of fire. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. At Tales Sync, our goal is not just to teach you English, but to help you understand the world in simple, powerful language. If this video gave you clarity, if it made you think deeper, if you learned something today, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us reach more people like you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What did you learn? What shocked you? And what do you believe should happen next between India and Pakistan? Hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next emotional and educational story. Thank you for supporting Tales Sync, where we tell the world's most important stories in English that everyone can understand. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep learning.